Tell you what, I think Sonny deserves a lot of credit in with our team. Just talking about how we were going to attack victory, we talked about it all week long, and I think that was the biggest difference. Is we went out there and we created population to the ball carrier. I mean, just listening to some of those things that Don was just telling me. The big number. I know we held them less than 100 yards, but when you look at the number of carries less than 2 yards, I mean, we absolutely destroyed and attacked the line of scrimmage with our guys up front, and it really allowed those guys, they made a lot of plays, but man, when you see how many people are on the ball carrier, there's several plays where it's very impressive.
Do you feel like these last few weeks have just been simply better execution? Because, I mean, Kennedy Brooks and Brees Hall combined,
Yeah.
I think, for 86 yards.
Yeah, I think probably it's keeping the same people out there, week after week. I've quit playing so many people there toward the middle of the year to even a lot less even last week. It kind of showed up in the second half. We got a little bit tired. I think we played 54 plays in the second half. If we could have got off the field on a couple of those, what I thought were interceptions, that would have helped, obviously, and would have taken some points off the board, which is exactly what we thought going into the game. We felt like if we could hold them to 24 points or less, which if we get both those interceptions, that would have been right at 24, that we were going to win the game. And so it held true. It was just a little bit closer than what we wanted it to be.
With Oklahoma State this week, Jalen Warren now in that backfield.
Yeah.
What makes him so different from any other?
He just runs hard. He's a violent runner. I mean, he gets his shoulder pads square and downhill. He's a different kind of challenge because he's got that. He's probably height-wise looks like Deuce, but he's obviously about 50 pounds heavier than Deuce, and so you gotta get down and you gotta commit to wanting to tackle him. I mean, he is a hard, tough runner, and as he goes, they go.
Schooler said earlier today in the press conference that this team is, preparing for it is kind of similar a little bit to Iowa State, just the way that their weapons work, I guess.
Yeah, it's really probably a combination somewhere between Iowa State and I would say Kansas State, probably. I think their offensive line is very similar to Kansas State's. I thought those two offensive lines probably function as a unit as well as anybody I've seen all year long, well coached. And once they kind of get to knocking you off the ball and they kind of get into a rhythm that, man, they just want to pound you. We cannot let that happen. We got to. Kind of happened a little bit in the first half a year ago. We were behind the chains. It was 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. It seemed like it was all day long there in the first half. And then we kind of come out in the second half and got that, changed that a little bit. But we gotta do the same thing that we've done. Obviously, Kansas State game, Oklahoma game, the Kansas game. That's where I point to. If you go back to the Kansas game to this point, that I think we've done an unbelievable job up front. Playing physical and tough, and forcing the ball to run laterally, and then we're getting those guys running to the ball and creating population and doing a nice job tackling.
That said, another thing that you guys did well against Iowa State was not just getting the Brees, but getting the Purdy in the backfield.
Yeah, we did early in the game, and it got a little bit more difficult when we got a little bit. There was a couple of times it looked like I couldn't tell if we were moving toward the quarterback or not, but that was big. Getting to him early, and I thought Kohler. I mean, he's everything that that everybody talks about him being. But I thought Eric Monroe did a really nice job trying to challenge him, and he made some incredible catches. Yeah, but Eric was all over him and challenged him several times. So that was big, and it was just a great team effort. And man, I just loved our mindset, the kids' mindset. It didn't matter if we'd have went for every fourth down, or it wouldn't have mattered. Our kids never flinched, and we took the field and went out there and just played with a great attitude all day long.
Adrian Taylor, you look at him and physically he looks like one of the smaller guys on the field, but he plays with a ton of effort. Right?
He is. That's why I recruited him. I mean, there was just something in that kid that I saw. I went and watched him. He was a 5,000-yard rusher in his career in high school. He won 3 state championships in football. He won a state championship in basketball. at that size, he led his team in rebounds. And I mean, when I went and watched him practice basketball, I mean, I said, this guy's everything that, I mean, he's the shortest guy on the court, and he looks like a point guard in the middle of the defense, and he's just jumping up and rebounding. And and then he's a state champion in the 200 meters, so he's just a winner. And that's all you can really say, because you look at him and you go, physically, he doesn't fit. I mean, he did with those other guys. I mean,
well, what made y'all then decide immediately that you wanted him as a defensive player versus an offensive player when his background was as a running back?
I've always had great success taking offensive running backs because they have great vision, they have toughness. I mean, to carry the ball for that many yards in high school, you got to have some toughness about you. They also have great vision. So we've converted a lot of running backs to linebacker, running backs to corner, running backs to DB, and I just had a gut feeling when I was dead set I was going to offer him, and and we did, and I think his better days. This is only the third year he's ever played defense ever in football. He was an offensive player his whole career, and I think next year. I mean, I really do. I mean, he's almost like the honey badger. I mean, he's that kind of talent, but he's fast. He's fast. He can run. I mean, 21.5 or 6 in the 200 meter, and I mean, he runs well, and he's the ultimate competitor. He's a winner.
Obviously, you're more focused on Texas Tech's defense this week, but this year with Oklahoma State kind of being so, I guess, uncharacteristically solid and well-rounded in defense. What's made them so effective?
It's just, if you look at them, I don't know how many of those kids have been there 6 years. They've been in that program for 6 years. I mean, that's 6 years in the same program, the same strength and conditioning, and they just play with just such a confidence, and like I say, they are being aggressive. They got some big guys up front that are a handful. Got great. Their linebackers are just really solid football players. And then their DBs, I mean, those guys have all been there for a long time, and it's going to be a great matchup Saturday night.
What kind of stands out most from Spencer Sanders on film?
I think he's just more under control, and I think they've kind of streamlined the offense to tailor to his athleticism, and made it where, hey, if you let them establish the run, and then now they're just going to play action shot, nakeds, and running back screens, all those things. Man, they've done a really nice job with him. He doesn't seem to be forcing as much as he did in some of the the air raid style offense, and so, with all the RPOs, I think they've kind of taken a little bit of that off his plate, and just because he's more decisive with the football now than what he was a couple of years ago, in my opinion. And then he's got targets all over the place. I mean, those wide receivers, I mean, those 3 or 4 wide receivers from the Green brothers to, Jaden Braid, I mean, they just, you can go on and on and on. I mean, those guys, and then, you got Taig out wide, you got Brennan Presley. I mean, they've got a bunch of people that they can spread the ball around to, and they've done a nice job with it. So, and again, it all begins with the run game, though. I mean, you sit there and let them just turn around, and they're feeding it to, I mean, he's rushed for what, like over 1,000 yards, like 41, something like that. I mean, you can't let them do that, because if they're sitting there, that play action and trying to throw it over your head, that's when you got problems.
So, who was your highest graded guy in the defensive front or line, kind of?
I would have to say up front, Jalen Hutchins, man. He's been by far the most consistent guy we've had all year long. I mean, his development, and I think it's the reason we went to the system that we did up front. Moving those guys more instead of we're just not big enough to sit in there and play base defense, and so we just made a decision. Hey, we're gonna chop the front up and use his athleticism. He was a high school running back, at times. So, man, we tried to get those guys moving. He's really benefited from it. And I think the other guy is Ty Wilson's really, if you go all the way back to from the Kansas game to now, he's really shown major improvements as well. And I think it's that's kind of why I think you're starting to see a little bit more consistency in stopping the run over the last 5 games or so.
So when did you make that change?
We actually did it right after spring football. Right after spring, we just decided, man, you know, I just felt like that we needed to do that to try to win more games, and I just thought, you know, I think it'll really benefit us, and maybe we can free up some guys. I mean, that we don't have any just pure pass rushers, so I thought by doing that maybe we can get a little bit more pressure, and he's done a nice job getting pressure up inside.
You mentioned Adrian. Sorry. How crucial has he been with the injuries to the secondary this year?
Man,
Just kind of shoring up the back end.
Yeah,
Of the
he's been he's really probably the most improved defensive back, obviously, because he hadn't played a lot of defense. So I think he's improved, and just the playing time has really helped him. You know, I mean, and that's what I was telling Don earlier. We're just a complete different defense when him and Reggie are on the field at the same time. And you know, unfortunately, you know, I mean, if Marquise could have stayed healthy, man, it's a shame to see what those guys could have become, all 3 together, because, you know, that would have been 3 very talented safeties, and they work really well, and their skill set they're all 3 different. So, but you can tell, you know, the TCU game and the Oklahoma game when Reggie's gone, and then you couple that with Marquise gone. And I tell you, the other guy that I've been so proud of is Eric Monroe. I really think over the last 3 or 4 games he's played really well, you know, for the most part.
Just like the rest of the guys on the sideline, I was just really excited. I mean, all of us just to be able to come out with the win and fight the way we fought as a team, and I mean, games that come down to the last second like that are just like really exciting, and it was just a lot of fun celebrating with the team. After getting some of the crowd to rush the field and stuff, it was just a really cool experience for sure.
For some of the upperclassmen, just to finally get that bowl eligibility, or just kind of that hump, if you will, I guess, what was that like for y'all? Like, did you feel that, or did you just feel like, okay, we still have 2 more games to kind of accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, we felt it for sure. I mean, just like you said, the older guys, like, we've been here, and I mean, I went to a bowl game my redshirt year. I wasn't even really playing, but like you said, just to finally get bowl eligible, I mean, it's something we definitely all recognize, but at the same time, we know we have 2 more games, and we're not done in the Big 12 yet. We still have 2 good opponents, and we need to go out there and beat them. So everyone's still focused on that. We know if we win more games, we can play ourselves into a better bowl game and finish the season with a winning record, and that's what all of us really want to do.
Dawson, have you given any thought to whether you still have the option of returning next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
You given any thought to whether you will, or think you'll?
I don't think I'm going to return next year. That's my plan as of now. Yes, sir.
So Saturday night will be your last time in the Jones then, right?
Yes, sir. Last game in the Jones.
So how will that be for you?
You know, it'll be crazy. It'll be emotional. I'll have my whole family down there, see me pregame. Just, I mean, after I've been here 5 years, all the work I've put in, just it'll be a really special one Saturday night in the Jones, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I know all my buddies on the team, all the other older guys feel the same way. We want to end our careers here in the right way, and I can't think of a better way to do that than last time we played in the Jones to get a W.
I was asking Sonny earlier today about how efficient y'all were on the hurry-up offense, both at the end of the first half and at the end of the game. From your standpoint, being the guy who's got to be on the ball and get it going, each one of those plays, how pleased with you with how well y'all operated, and like I said, really the 1-minute offense at the end of the first half and the end of the game.
Yes, sir. I mean, we were just talking about it on the sideline as Iowa State had the ball on that final drive. We were talking about, we were like, no matter what happens, we know we got to go score to win this game. So we all had that mindset on the sideline. As an O-line, we gathered up. We knew we just had to protect for Donovan, and he had been playing really well, and we have a ton of confidence in him. And we knew if we gave him time, he'd find the open people and drive us down the field, and that's what he did. And we got in good enough field goal range for Garibay, and yeah, we won the game. So like you said, we had one right before halftime, and we had one at the end of the game, and we came away with points with both of those, and that's huge to be able to do that and just kind of take advantage of every time you have the ball and get points.
Earlier today, we talked to Easy, and he said just with Donovan and how he played in that game that you could tell the difference between a quarterback that has confidence throwing the ball and someone that's just throwing up a prayer. Donovan has confidence. I was just wondering if you guys can feel that on the O-line when you're blocking for him, a quarterback that's that comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah, we feel that for sure. I mean, and especially just all week throughout practice, watching him prepare. I mean, he looked really good in practice. He was really confident. He was really in there studying the playbook, making sure he was on top of all of his stuff. And I think it really showed Saturday. Like you're saying, he was standing back there, being confident in the pocket, even sometimes having to make a couple dudes miss in the pocket and extend the play. And he did that plenty times on Saturday. And, I mean, it really helps. I mean, receivers get to do scramble drill, get open for him. And he did a really good job back there, being confident, communicating with the O-line, and, I mean, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Well, looking ahead to this week, you guys are going to have to block for him against maybe the best D-line in the entire Big 12. What's made Oklahoma State so effective this year?
Yeah, I think they do a good job, like you were saying, with getting pressures and stuff on third downs, fourth downs. They do a good job mixing stuff up and giving the O-line different looks, making them have to communicate, getting the right calls. So that's something we've already started a lot on in our room, just watching all the tape, seeing all the different looks they come out in, making sure the O-line, running backs, and quarterbacks are all on the same page with identifying blitzes and making sure we pick up the right guys. But, yeah, we've watched a lot of film on them, and they're a team that likes to move around a lot up front and kind of try to catch you messing up a little bit. We just need to make sure we're all on the same page, and that starts with me as the center, making sure I communicate to everybody.
Also, what's the challenge, or I guess what's the help of having a mobile quarterback, especially against an Oklahoma State defense that has 15 sacks, to where maybe it helped y'all a little bit, or do you feel like it's kind of tough because you don't know where he's at, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it helps a lot for multiple reasons. Number one, like you were saying, I mean, sometimes if a defense does send 7 or send 6, there's a guy running free. We're all confident Donovan can make that guy miss. He's just a really good athlete back there and has a really good pocket presence. And extending the play, because we have really good receivers, allowing those receivers more time to get open. And on Saturday, Donovan did a really good job of keeping his eyes downfield. So I think that's a really good combination. And just us knowing as an offense that Donovan has the ability to extend plays really helps a lot. And then as far as the run game goes, you saw it on Saturday, guys respecting Donovan pulling the ball, and that really sets up bigger runs, bigger gaps in the run game for sure. And I think you saw that a lot on Saturday.
I asked Easy this earlier. I guess for you, how much did it help Donovan being in some series earlier this year rather than just cold turkey getting the start last weekend?
Yeah, I think it helped him a lot. Just between West Virginia, Kansas, Texas, TCU, you saw him pop in there and got to throw the ball a little bit against Kansas. And I think that just helped him get more and more confident, and then went in against OU and played really well as well. So that just watching that as an O-lineman and as an offense, it really gives you confidence in the guy. And then watching how he prepared after the OU game, just working really hard on the field, off the field, in the film room, just making sure he was completely prepared. I think it really showed, and it's really good to see that from a young guy, how mature he is with his preparation.
Going back to clarify for just a moment, when I asked you about whether you would or would not come back next year, you said you probably plan to move on. I assume then you're looking at NFL versus transfer portal, since you could have another year elsewhere, or what are you kind of thinking? That's
my plan, to go into the NFL draft in April.
What kind of feedback did you get last year? What kind of grade did you?
I got a late round undrafted grade last year, and it was just something I talked with the coaches here about, kind of talked with my family, some outside people, just kind of get their advice. And last year, around January, December, I made the decision to come back for another year. I felt like I could help out my stock a lot, move up, and I felt like I had a lot more football to be played. And I remember I actually got asked this question like in January, I think, and I remember saying I wanted to go to a bowl game and finish with a bowl ring. So, I mean, I have the opportunity now. This is what I came back for. So, I mean, me and the rest of the guys were all really excited to go out there, finish this season strong, and for me, finish my career with a bowl game. I'm really excited about it.
Become bowl eligible.
I'm just very proud of my guys, and I'm just very proud of the team as well. We had fought a lot of adversity through the past couple of weeks, and I've been bowling before, and it's fun. It's a fun experience. I feel like you playing college football is one of the best things you could possibly do, and I just can't wait for my guys to just see it and experience it.
On top of that, how do you guys go forward and not let complacency set in and still have that hunger to win these next 2 games before the potential bowl?
Winning these next 2 games would be better for us, especially even coming with the bowl situation as well, playing in a better bowl. And I feel like, we're not trying to get complacent. It's just whoever we got this week is just 1-0 mentality, and whoever we got is what we're trying to handle, so that's it.
How long ago does it feel like since your pick 6 against Oklahoma State out here in the stadium?
I feel like ages. I'm kind of old, so it's one of my favorite games as well. And Oklahoma State, we always give them a tough battle, so I feel like it'll be a really great week.
Well, and you've had some good games against them because you had a pick here 2 years ago off Spencer Sanders, right?
Yeah, it was on the tight end. But I always play pretty good against Oklahoma State. Try to play good every game, hopefully. So I can't wait for it.
Marcus, you and several others kind of made the decision to come back. I guess what does the decision mean now to you? Now that you kind of know that you're bowl eligible and kind of you wanted to do some of these things, and now you got there.
I feel like most of the guys wanted to come back because we wanted to leave a legacy here, and I feel like what we did last year just wasn't enough for us, and I feel like we're headed on the right path in the right direction, and I can't little it is, I'm proud of these guys, and I'm proud of the seniors that came back, and that's all we all agreed to it, so I'm happy.
How did the celebration Saturday night compare to any others that you have been a part of? Was that the best one?
It was the best one. It was the best one, hands down. It was fun to see that we got to interact with the fans as well, and they was able to storm the field. So I'm happy. I was happy for that.
I guess what stands out from the Oklahoma State offense most on film? Started breaking them down this week.
They're a very explosive team. They have a good running quarterback, good dual threat quarterback. I know Chuba has went to the league, but they have a great running back. I think he's from Utah State. And, they just a real solid, good team, and I feel like, they're going to play fast and they're going to play physical, and hopefully we as well.
What is making Adrian Taylor so much of a presence for you guys back in?
His presence has been his best, and, we has challenged him week over week, and he tends to show up, and I feel like that's very important. And he plays a key role with us, so I feel like I tell him every week, the way he plays is how we all do. So if we want to do bad, we all do bad. So, but he's been playing lights out lately, and I just want to congratulate him as well.
You mentioned, Oklahoma State's quarterback, the guy they're throwing to Tamar. What's made him and him such an effective duo this year?
They're effective duo. I know he's usually used to Tylan Wallace. Tylan Wallace left, so. He found his next buddy, so I just feel like them guys are just same thing, man. They're very explosive. They're good kids, and they're D1 athletes. So we're just gonna give them their best shot, and they're gonna give us our best shot. So that's what it is.